Do not waste your money on these makeup products. Maximize what you have instead. If you are a makeup beginner or someone who wants to simplify their makeup routine to be just a few more steps, or if you just want to be a lot more mindful about how you're spending your money, here are some of the products that I don't think you need to waste your money on. Hi gorgeous, welcome back to the beauty room. My name is Elle if you're new, and you're probably wondering who is this girl and why is she holding a brush as a microphone. There's a million different reasons why I like to hold this brush as a microphone, but if there's anything you take away from it, it's just not to take this video too seriously. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. So recently I saw this TikTok pop up on my For You page.
I have a lot of issues with hyperconsumerism in the beauty space, but my biggest one by far is that it's resulted in people losing the art of product maximization. Like back in my day, when I was coming up, you know what I'm saying? I would watch tutorials and figure out how to use the same product in like 57 different ways. That was, that's what the girls were doing, you know what I'm saying? And nowadays, it's like every day is a new product, new concealer, new blush, new foundation. And people think that the answer to knowing how to do different techniques or knowing how to get different looks is, oh, I just need to buy a new foundation. I just need to buy a new concealer. I just need to buy, no. You just gotta learn a new technique. And that's the type of beauty content creator that I am for real. Because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Like, I like trying new products. I love, now that I'm in a place where I have like 1,000,001 makeup products. I'm getting scent makeup. That's so fun. That's so fresh. But at the end of the day, my heart is always gonna lie in showing you how to maximize the products you already have.
This is something that has been on my mind for a while, but I've never been able to put it into words, and I feel like she explains it perfectly. So over the years, I have been an avid follower and viewer of celebrity makeup artists to wedding makeup artists because I really like to learn from their techniques and experiences. And there's one thing that I notice that they all do, no matter the type of makeup that they do or the client that they have, that has really inspired me to this day. Most makeup artists try to condense their kits to be easier to carry, but they also make sure to choose products in their makeup kit that are versatile and can be used in multiple different ways. And this is the complete opposite of what we learn online and even from makeup brands themselves. Because if there's anything that I learned from studying marketing and advertising over the years, it's that businesses and brands like to release products that are created to solve made-up problems to make money not only on our insecurities, but our love and passion for makeup. Now, personally, for me, I like to use all of the things. I like to layer products on, creams, liquids, powders. I have like probably 3 different blushes on my cheeks right now. I am not the person that tries to downsize my makeup routine to like 5 steps, all right? I also find a lot of joy in trying new products, whether it's essential in a makeup routine or not essential in a makeup routine. I am the person that brands are advertising to when they're making up unnecessary problems in order to sell a product. But in the same breath, when I see makeup artists trying to condense their kit or using products in multiple different ways, it is truly inspiring to me because it reminds me of a painter mixing primary colors to make the shade that they want. And I love the act of doing that. I think that there is something special in using products in multiple different ways. It's really fun. So in this video, I'm just going to continue the conversation from my last video that you guys seem to like a lot, which is called Makeup You'll Always Regret Buying. But I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper and more specifically into products that you don't necessarily need in your makeup routine. They might be a nice to have, but they're not a must have in your makeup routine. You do not have to do anything you do not want to do. Makeup is so personal, so take what you like from this video and leave the rest. There have also been so many other creators that have made similar topics of videos, so I am going to create a playlist if you wanted to binge all of them together. I did my best to try to make different points or to try to dive a little bit deeper into some of the points that are similar to everyone else's. But if this video is not enough for you, then feel free to go watch and support other creators. And while you watch me chat away and do my makeup, I want to hear in the comments, what are some makeup products that you realize were not necessary in your makeup routine that you no longer want to spend your money on? Excuse my hair today. It is a little frizzy, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. Jumping right into the first nice to have but not a must have in your makeup routine are hydrating and sticky primers. Now, a hydrating primer is originally just meant to add obviously hydration moisture to the face before applying on your foundation. Usually the more hydrated your skin is, the better your foundation will apply. So a hydrating primer might sound necessary, but it's not really something you need, especially if you have good skin prep and skincare before applying your makeup on. If anything, I would recommend for you to focus on the types of skincare products you're using, how you're prepping your skin the night before, instead of purchasing a hydrating primer. Because if your skincare is already adding enough hydration and moisture to your skin, you don't really need to add on a hydrating primer, because that product is going to be semi-redundant. If anything, it's only going to add just a slightly more hydration than it already had previously. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions to this, especially if you have severely dry skin. I usually go in with the Elle Face Base Milk first after I cleanse my skin. I make sure my skin is completely clean before putting on my makeup, and this is my absolute holy grail at the moment. I don't usually use essence or toners because I feel like they don't really add anything to my routine, but once I started using this, I cannot stop using it. I'm almost done with it. This is my first bottle. What I love about this essence is that it's a very milky, thick texture, but it soaks into the skin like water. My skin just like drinks it up, and it feels very moisturizing without being heavy on the skin. So if you have oily skin, I highly recommend this. You might even be able to get away with wearing just this and sunscreen. After I use the Elle Face Base Milk, I go in with the Cetaphil Moisturizing Lotion. This is technically for dry to normal skin. I do have oily skin, and I just make sure to use a thinner layer of this. If you have drier skin, you might want something that's a little bit more moisturizing. And the reason why I usually go in with a thin layer of moisturizer for my skin is because I do use sunscreen. But sunscreen, you need a little bit of a thicker layer, and this sunscreen is already moisturizing in itself. It's the Torridon Dive In Moisture Sunscreen with SPF 50 PA+++. It is a thicker texture, but it's not sticky on the skin. It does sink into the skin pretty well. I usually wait a good 10 to 15 minutes to let this soak into the skin. But that's another thing to keep in mind. If you're gonna wear sunscreen underneath your makeup, you want to just make sure that sunscreen pairs well with your foundation, and if it does, you do not need a hydrating primer at all. I would say the same thing for sticky primers. They can be helpful in your makeup routine, especially if you have a foundation that's not really long lasting. Sticky primers are supposed to really help your makeup grip onto your skin and last longer throughout the day. But if you think about it, if you have a foundation that already has longevity, you do not need a sticky primer. It's kind of an unnecessary step. I used to love sticky primers because some of my favorite foundations looked really beautiful on the skin, but they didn't have longevity. An example of that is the Maybelline Fit Me, the L'Oreal True Match, and the Fenty Skin Tint. These are beautiful products, but they don't have as much longevity due to the formulas, so using a sticky primer always helps. But now I have favorite foundations that have better longevity, are a little bit more transfer proof, so I don't really feel the need to use a sticky primer. And if you have a foundation that can last you 6, 8, 10 hours in a day, you're not really going to notice a difference when you're using a sticky primer. Personally for me though, I do have acne prone, textured, oily skin, so I find benefits when it comes to primers. And I notice that most of the people who use primers are those of you who have skin like mine that are a little bit textured, you have larger pores. I feel like that's where I notice a bigger difference when it comes to using primers. I really like the Hourglass Airbrush Primer. This isn't necessarily just a hydrating primer or a sticky primer. It's more of a skin blurring primer, but I love that it's not super silicone-y. It does have that moisture in it, and it just creates a really smooth canvas for my makeup. I do notice a difference in terms of application. I feel like my makeup applies on so much more smoothly, especially when I'm wearing a full coverage foundation. But if I'm being honest with you, you won't really notice a significant difference in your pores or the blurring effect. I feel like with all primers, you can only see a slight difference, but it's not like a magic potion. It's not going to change your skin. It just really makes it easy to apply on the foundation and helps it look slightly more smoother on the skin. Even for me, when I am using a primer, it's only when I'm using like a full coverage matte foundation. I do not use this primer on a daily basis. I don't find it necessary. I feel like it's an extra step. For my daily makeup routine, for my natural makeup routine, I just skip primer altogether. Another product that you might not need, it's a nice to have but not a must have, is a tinted moisturizer or even a light coverage foundation. I'm going to talk about this as I apply on a full coverage Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place foundation. This is one of my favorites for on-camera makeup. It is truly the most full coverage, transfer-proof foundation I've ever tried. And the thing is, if you have a foundation like this that's full coverage or even medium coverage, you don't necessarily need to buy a tinted moisturizer or a light coverage foundation. And the reason for that is because you can mix this full coverage foundation with a moisturizer or glow serum of your choice, like the Glow Recipe Serum, and it will give you the tinted moisturizer effect. There are ways to maximize your foundation to ensure you get that very natural light coverage look. Just because a foundation is marketed a certain way doesn't mean that's the only way that you can wear that foundation. And if you want the foundation to have more of a light coverage effect, there are ways that you can apply the foundation so that it's not super heavy on the skin. So as you can tell with this full coverage foundation, I'm applying it on the back of my hand, taking the brush, spreading it around for even coverage, but that also ensures there's not too much initial product. And then I'm applying the foundation layer by layer. So this is the first layer, and I would consider the first layer more medium covered. I think if I wanted something even lighter, I would mix it in with a moisturizer or something. But you could stop here and you'll get that medium coverage foundation effect. Or you can just continue building up the layers to get even more coverage. So there are different ways you can work with foundation so that you can get multiple different uses out of them. You don't necessarily need to buy a separate foundation for each type of coverage that you want. This wasn't originally on my list, but another way you can maximize your foundation is by using it as a concealer. Again, if you have a full coverage foundation, that's basically a concealer. So you don't necessarily need to buy a separate concealer. You can either mix in this foundation with maybe a lighter shade of something to get a brighter concealer, or you can just use it to spot conceal like I am right now. I'm just kind of taking it with my fingers and applying it where I want some more coverage so that I don't need to add concealer. Usually when I'm wearing a full coverage foundation, I just don't find it necessary to add even more concealer unless I'm really just trying to make my makeup look super flawless and covered. The next product that I think a lot of y'all will agree with me on is color corrector, but more specifically green color corrector. I know there are a lot of people out there who have redness to cover, and I also have redness that I usually like to cover, but I noticed that redness is easily covered by my concealer or foundation. I have never in my life thought to myself, I need a green color corrector. I don't think my redness is covered enough. Even with light coverage skin tints or tinted moisturizers, usually I notice my redness is covered, and with the full coverage, medium coverage, or even light coverage concealer, that is just enough to cover up the redness on your skin. I feel like a green color corrector is more beneficial if that's really all you're wearing. If you don't want to wear foundation or concealer and you just want minimal products and you only use a green color corrector and go about your day, I feel like then that could be beneficial to your makeup routine. But if you're already gonna wear foundation or concealer, I don't think it's something that you necessarily need. I would be surprised, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if there is anyone that's no, my foundation is not enough to cover my redness. I also think it depends on your level of redness. I might have a very mild level of redness, so that's probably why it's easier to cover. So in that case, go off, use your green color corrector. But for me, I haven't really noticed a difference at all because I'm already using foundation, I'm already using concealer. I guess what I'm trying to say is any color corrector that doesn't really address major concerns that you have specifically is not necessary. So there's peach color corrector, green color corrector, yellow color corrector, blue color corrector. You don't need all of it. Pick one that addresses a major concern and feels like it makes a difference for you, or pick none of them because you might not need any of them. Personally, for me, I have found some benefits in using a peach color corrector, but for the longest time, I didn't notice that this made a difference in my makeup at all. And that's because a lot of the color correctors out there were just not the right tone for my skin. However, Huda Beauty has their full filter color corrector, and there's different variations of peach, which I love. Like, I love that she did that, because now I actually have a color corrector that makes, you know, a slight difference on my skin, and I do find beneficial to use. So usually how I apply on the color corrector is just dab it with a blending brush, and I just kind of lightly blend it under the eyes and kind of layer it that way. In the beginning, I used color corrector severely wrong and would put it directly on my face. I learned literally from TikTok that if you do it this way, it doesn't really show up. It's applied properly, and it will make a difference when covering darkness under eyes, hyperpigmentation. I have hyperpigmentation usually around this area of my face, and I just concentrate it around there. The reason why I find peach color corrector beneficial for me is because even with the Estee Lauder full coverage foundation, I notice my dark spots and hyperpigmentation will peek through. So I tend to just go back in with color corrector, dust it on just to hide those areas a little bit more. I also think that peach color corrector, again, depending on your level of hyperpigmentation, some people have really dark under eyes, can be beneficial for you. But if you don't have those problems on your skin, and if you notice your foundation is already enough to cover up your hyperpigmentation, dark spots, or anything else that you're looking for, you don't need peach color corrector the way that I do. And even me doing this right now, again, I don't do this on a daily basis. Like, for my everyday makeup, I am cutting my steps down. Like, even though I'm a makeup maximalist and I love to use all of the things and play with all of the things, when I'm doing my 10-minute makeup routine, color corrector is not in it, okay? Color corrector is not in it, primer is not in it, sometimes setting spray isn't even in it. So don't waste your money on products that you're not going to use as often or you don't find value in. It's just an added step that you probably don't need. Like, I could just go about this, like, I don't really see the peach in it, but sometimes just to be safe, I go in with like leftover foundation and apply it over the peach color corrector just to ensure nothing's crazy is going on. And if you're wondering what this brush is, it is the Morphe V108 brush, by far one of my favorite brushes of all time. Y'all always ask me, what brush is this? What are you using? It's Morphe V108. Pretty sure it's on sale right now also. Gorgeous. Okay, so I just applied on blush and bronzer. I will link what I'm using down in the description if you are curious. I definitely have a good sunburnt blush right now. But moving on to the next product that is nice to have but not a must-have in your makeup routine. Colorful, loose, baking, setting powder, whatever you want to call this. This is the One Size Ultra Pink setting powder. This is the One Size Sweet Honey setting powder. I don't think that you need multiple different shades of setting powder. You just need the one shade that you think works best for your skin tone. I personally think that Sweet Honey, which is more of a banana powder, looks better on my skin tone. And then for lighter skin tones, I noticed that Ultra Pink looks really, really good on lighter skin tones. Of course, you can use this if you are a medium or deeper skin tone, just depending on your preferences. But those are my suggestions. I've used Ultra Pink on my face. I use it every once in a while. And yes, it does give me a brighter under eye. But the thing about this powder is because it doesn't really align with my undertones, and I can't really use it on the rest of my face without looking a bit off. Like, it doesn't fit with my undertones because it's more of a cool tone, kind of pinkish finish. But with the banana powder, I can use this under my eyes and all of my face. So if I'm gonna pick a shade that's more versatile, it's gonna be the banana color instead of the viral pink powder. That might change depending on who you are, what you like. That is my case, okay? Not only that, I feel like you also don't need a loose baking powder or loose powder in general, depending on how you do your makeup. Like, I'll be real, I do not use loose setting powder on a daily basis. Like, I instead love a good pressed powder. The Kosas pressed setting powder is currently my favorite, especially because it's just so easy to apply. For my everyday makeup, it's a lot quicker to apply. It's less of a hassle. The powder is also talc free. One Size powder, don't get me wrong, looks fabulous, looks great. I don't feel like this would be a waste of your money if you're into a loose setting powder, if you do a lot of glam makeup looks. But for the everyday average person, you don't need heavy setting powder. You don't need to bake. And I actually got this inspiration from Robert Welsh. He mentioned some of the same things that I'm mentioning in this video, so I just want to give credit where credit is due. But I agree, like when I think about the everyday makeup that I wear, it's not loose setting powder. I'm not wearing this on a daily basis. I feel like loose setting powder and baking powder is for those of you who love full glam, who love to go out, take pictures, wear makeup for special events and special occasions, and are a little bit more of a makeup maximalist. But if you're a makeup minimalist, I'm telling y'all, this is not necessary. I usually use the Kosas loose setting powder with a like tinted. Wow, this is broken. This is what I use on the daily basis. As you can tell, I've hit pan on the product. The container is also broken, and that is enough for my oily skin. It's less step, less mess, and it's better for my skin. I also know that the one size powder is almost too heavy for my skin, and I know it probably clogs my pores, so I try not to use this as often. Don't waste your money on products just because you notice that everyone else is using it. Spend money on products that you feel like are convenient for you to use, works well on you, and fits your lifestyle, like I mentioned in my last video. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun with makeup. Like if you find this to be an essential, then by all means, that's not a waste of money. It's only a waste of money if it doesn't work for you. I'm gonna apply on a little bit more blush because I simply cannot get enough. This is the Persona Terracotta blush. I'm mixing it with the House Labs blush in the shade Fire Moon. I just feel like it gives you the perfect like sunburnt skin kind of makeup look, and it matches my dress. I finally applied on some mascara and a little bit of eyeliner, but moving on to the next product that's a nice to have but not a need in your makeup routine, highlighter. I feel like this could be controversial for some of you, especially if you love glowy skin, and by all means, if you love your glowy skin, you love your highlighter, keep using your highlighter. But for me, with oily skin, my makeup naturally will get glowy throughout the day, no matter how matte I am. Like today, I'm super mattified. I have mattifying powder on, a matte foundation on, matte everything. And by the end of today, I'm going to be glowy just because that's how my skin is. So I don't really need a highlighter. I also find that highlighter enhances the texture on my cheeks, which I'm not really in love with. But I'm not saying you don't need highlighter if you are my skin type or anything like that. I just think that instead of buying a $20, $30, $40 highlighter, you can simply just use, if I can find it, an eyeshadow palette. An eyeshadow. When I was younger, I remember asking someone like what kind of highlighter they were wearing, and they told me it was eyeshadow. So to this day, I always think about that one moment where I'm like, wow, like that is the prettiest highlight, yet they were just using eyeshadow. The thing about highlighter is they come with so much product for no reason, because with highlighter, you're only like kind of putting it on the tops of your cheeks, on your nose. You're not really putting it everywhere the way that you would like blush or bronzer. So they gave you so much product to do such a small job, but some eyeshadows can do the same trick as you. And there might be people that argue with me that no, eyeshadow's not the same. A lot of eyeshadow is glittery, but I've found eyeshadows like this one and the Natasha Denona Biba palette that I depotted. This eyeshadow has a little bit of glitz to it, but it's pretty much a sheen like a highlight. So what is the difference between this and a regular highlight? This is the Rare Beauty Flaunt highlighter. They're not the same color, but they give the same finish. I don't know if you can see it, but they're not the same color, yet they give the same finish. Especially if you want a super gleaming highlight, you don't need to buy the Rare Beauty highlighter or the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter. Just look through your eyeshadows and see if you can find one that works for your skin, and that will make your eyeshadow multi-purpose. You could also apply it on your inner corners of your eyes to brighten them up, and if you find that eyeshadows are slightly too pigmented for you, there's no problem in that. Just kind of tap it lightly. You could also tap it on the back of your hand to make sure there's not too much of a highlight going on. I like a very small amount of highlight, like you might not even be able to notice it on camera. And this to me does the same thing. It really just does the trick for me, especially as someone who isn't really the biggest fan of highlight. I just don't find buying separate highlighters necessary anymore, and eyeshadows can be more multi-purpose. Ta-da! The next product that you do not need to waste your money on is different colored lip glosses. Now this is coming from someone who absolutely loves colored lip glosses, especially the Buxom Plumping Lip Creams. They're one of my favorite lip gloss formulas, and I love lip glosses that have a little bit of a shade to them because what's the point of clear lip gloss, right? But after observing so many makeup artists, I noticed that some people didn't carry multiple different shades of lip glosses. They only chose like their favorite few shades of lip gloss that works on everyone, or they would carry a clear lip gloss that they can mix with any lipstick to get the shade that they want. And if you think about it, what is the point of a colored lip gloss if you're going to put it on top of lipstick anyways? Now the exception, especially for me because I love a good colored lip gloss, is sometimes I just put on a lip liner and then I put on the cream colored lip gloss and no lipstick underneath, and I love the way that that looks. So if you like that, by all means. But if you are trying to condense your makeup routine, if you're trying to save a little bit of coin, colored lip glosses are not necessary in your makeup routine, or not products that you need to splurge on because you can just make it with a clear lip gloss. So today what I'm gonna do is apply on my favorite lip liner because it goes with every lipstick, every lip gloss, every lip combination I put on my lips. So if you can find that perfect lip liner, that will also save you a little bit of money in the long run because it'll be super versatile. Now the lipstick that I'm going to wear today is in the shade Ginger Spice from L'Oreal, another current favorite lip product. It's just like peachy brown nude color. It's a satin lipstick, so it already has some shine. I don't have a clear lip gloss. This is the closest thing I have to a clear lip gloss. It's just a very sheer lip gloss from Buxom, so we're just gonna count this as a clear lip gloss. It's as clear as it's gonna get. You can just put the lipstick on the back of your hand, just a good amount of that, and then mix it in with the lip gloss. This is especially important if you are a makeup artist and you don't want to like put the doe foot applicator on their lips. You want to use a separate applicator, but because this is my own stuff, I just mix it on my lips. Boom. What is the point of another colored lip gloss when you could just mix it with your lipstick? Also, just to show you on the back of my hand, it mixed with the shade Ginger Spice, and look at that. It's just a perfect gloss color. And if you want to make a nude lipstick, just put that on the back of your hand or on your lips, mix it with that clear lip gloss, boom, you got a nude lipstick color. Now you do kind of want to make sure you clean the doe foot applicator or use another doe foot applicator so you're not like contaminating the color that's in here. You can keep your lip gloss clear. I noticed that makeup artists carry, I think it's the MAC glass. It's in a squeezy tube, so all you have to do is kind of squeeze it, use a brush to mix in the shade and put it on your lips. That also will prevent you from getting like mixed colors in your lip gloss. So here is the full face of makeup with some products that I don't necessarily need in my makeup routine. Again, this is a makeup look that I'm doing on full glam days. I am not doing this full beat every single day. If you do want to see what is essential in my makeup routine, things that I am using on a daily basis for real life and not just for photo and video, let me know in the comments below because I'll be sure to film that video. I might even film it if none of you request it just because I want to document it for my own memories. That brings us to the last product that is nice to have but not a must-have, and I'm just going to generalize it to any essential must-have products that aren't actually essential in your routine and your lifestyle and what you enjoy. Everything that I said in this video is based off of my personal experience, but if you find something in this video that is essential to you, then keep doing that. I think us as influencers and content creators, we have our own personal preferences as to what is actually essential in our makeup routine. And just because I tell you this is my holy grail powder, I use this every single day, I enjoy it, I feel like it is a must-have in your makeup routine, doesn't mean it's actually an essential for your makeup routine. I think that it's important to look within ourselves and think about how we like to do makeup and take what we like and leave the rest. just doesn't mean that influencer or content creator is lying or exaggerating. It just means that we all have different preferences, and what's essential to me might not be essential to you. Some of us might say that a neutral eyeshadow palette is essential in your makeup collection or makeup routine, but it might be a waste of money for some of you because some of you might not even wear eyeshadow, or you might prefer colorful eyeshadow. Especially if you're a minimal makeup wearer, you don't like eyeshadow. I think your bronzer and your highlight, or your bronzer and your blush, can do just enough to add color on your lids. You don't necessarily need a neutral eyeshadow palette. Some people might say that foundation is an essential in your makeup routine, but when I was younger and I was just starting off with makeup, I did not think that it was essential at all. I hated the way that foundation felt on my face. With that said, I'm pretty sure you get my point. Before you leave this video, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What is a product in your makeup routine that you just feel like is unnecessary and not something you use on a daily basis? Don't be afraid to share your personal hot takes. Just be sure to stay kind in the comments. But with all that being said, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and if you missed my last video on makeup you'll always regret buying, I will link it somewhere in the cards. But as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!